Delay of recording this session, but unfortunately, there's a lot of things to do, and there's more than one commitment to me as an educator. So, bear with me as I record this session. And this session, I'm gonna talk about our previous work regarding how to make a database system that is representing a solution for database related to a car business. So I'm gonna walk you through how to do it because you're asked to provide it as part of your class assessment. So the first thing that you need to do is to click on the access icon here. You should be more than able to open the software by yourself. After that, you're gonna click the screen, say blank desktop database, and we create our fresh file. The first thing that you need to do, as we do every time, is by going to the design view, and it will tell you the Microsoft Access will tell you to name your first table. We said that on this file or in this project we're gonna have a more complicated example by making more than one table. The first table is gonna have information about cars, so we're gonna call it cars table. So let's start with drifting or drafting the information that we need or the fields that's needed in the system. This is some sort of a business that is selling cars for customers, and as an ID for the cars, we know that we should have the ID field. Remember, we talked about this field. What is the point from the field or the ID field? It's a data type auto numbered, and it's actually generating random or incremental codes for any different cars to make different purchase. We said that if there's a business that has a lot of customers, thousands of customers, it's not ideal to use normal methods of numbers. So we need to create the car ID. It's a unique field. This is the point from it, to distinguish the different cars from each other. The second thing is gonna be an information about who is making these cars. So we said that we're gonna name it maker. We're gonna talk about like companies like Mercedes, Kia, whatever it is, and we're gonna keep it short text as a data type. And then we're gonna add a field about the model of the car. It's also short text. After that, we need to add the field of color in case there is more than a desired color to be choose from by the customer itself. And beside that, we're gonna add a field about giving specification about the engine. We say the engine is representing the power of the engine, and we said it's ideal to use the data type number, because in Libya we refer to the engine power by numbers. We say 16 horsepower, 18 horsepower, whatever. So it should be number, not short text, not auto number. There's other two fields, but it's not the time to talk about them right now. So this is all we need to know about this table. Now we're gonna go to the datasheet view to see what we have. And as you can see, we have the tables here. If we say that we have the first car, I'm gonna do two records as an example to represent how to do it. We decided that the first car is called Kia, and the other one, or the model, it should be something, I don't know, Kia, for example. The color is like white here. The engine, I can't say that I know specifically what's the engine power, but we can use anything that looks normal or logical to us. This is an example of how to make a record of the car. Now, we said that the point from this second example is to learn how to add another table beside the car. This is one table. How to add another table at the same Microsoft Access file by going to the Create tab here and then clicking the table button here. Now we have another table, and we gonna name this table. It's gonna have information about our customers. Ideally, we're gonna have information as a business owners about the customers. And we're gonna click yes. So usually we're gonna have information about the customers. This information, it should be like, also for the customers we need to have an ID for our customers. Each customer has a unique ID, so we're gonna name it customer ID. We're gonna have the name ideally for the customer. It's a short number or the short text as a data type. Beside the name, I'm gonna add two other fields, and that's it. It's the phone number and the address of the customer. And you have a slight addition in here. I need to teach you how to adjust the properties of a field. The address and the phone, as you know, they have a complicated information and they vary from a country to another. So we need to learn a few things to be done here. Regarding the address, we have here, it's something, I mean, every field that we click, we notice that the bottom part keeps changing. Why is that? Because each data or each field has a specific or allowed field properties. So when we click on the address, there's a specific property called input mask. Input mask enable us to change the address into a specific international coding. So as an example to how to change input mask property for the address field, we need to click on this button that you see on the right with three dots. When you click it, it's gonna ask you to save your file. Say yes, I'm gonna save the information. You're gonna have the input mask wizard. The input mask wizard enable you to use a variety of international coding. As you can see here, the formatting of making the phone numbers when we have brackets beside the dash, or changing the zip code. A zip code is international, or an American way of adding information about the address, whatever it is. So since we are dealing with address, we're gonna use the zip code as an input mask wizard. You click it, you highlight it, and then you click finish. The same thing you're gonna do for the phone, but we're gonna go to the input mask, but instead of clicking on the zip code, we're gonna click or keep highlighting the phone number. That's it, and we click finish. That's it. Now we go to our sheet view, and we're gonna have the information that we see here. We added the name, for example, Ahmed, and the address. As you can see, when this is the point from the input mask, you can see that there's a dashed lines here. What's the point from them? It's enabling you to add the address quickly. You see, without doing anything, we didn't add any kind of dashes. We just entered the numbers from our keyboard. We just kept entering numbers, and that's it. Simple as that. This is the point from changing the input mask property, enabling us to have fields with having a specific way of information by adding symbols like arrows or dashes, whatever it is. Now let's go to the last point of this session. Now we have two tables, but these two tables, they don't communicate with each other. How to enable them to communicate with each other? By adding a certain field into the car design view. What's the meaning of that? It means that we need to link every car to its customer. How to do that? We know that there is a unique field here. It's called customer ID. We're gonna use this field, the customer ID, to be added here. What is the meaning of that? The customer ID is gonna be grab it from the table or link it from the customer's tables to the car to distinguish which car purchased by which customer. The only thing that you need to keep in mind that you cannot keep the customer ID that you brought from the customer table as an auto number. You're not allowed to do that, because if you do that, the number is gonna keep changing, and this is one of the things about the auto number as a data type. It's generating itself by a random logarithm. The only thing that you need to keep in mind when you have this, when we have a key or we have a unique ID from another table, which is the customer, into another table, we refer to this as a foreign key. It's not a primary key anymore. And one of the tricks that we do, we change the data type into number. Also, we're gonna add, beside that, in this information, the purchase, sorry, date of the car. The purchase date, of course, is gonna have the data type date time. Date time, we use it to change, to identify the information related to dates and or timetable. This is the only two fields that you need to add to the cars table, so to enable us to build a relation with the other table. So we're gonna click here to save the information. The only thing that you need to add here is the customer ID, and the customer ID from here, we know that it's set into 1. I didn't use any kind of random number. Remember that we can randomize the ID. I kept it as increment. We can use it here. So we're gonna say that the ID of the customer that purchased the Kia is 1, and purchase date, when you click here on the purchase date, you can have the icon of the calendar here. Just click it, and you're gonna have a purchase date. You can use any kind of date, and that's it. So we have 2 completed tables. We have everything in place. The only one thing that you need to know about relation is how to build a relation between the 2 tables. To be able to use relationship, you need to go to the database tools here. You click the database tool here, and you click the relationships icon. When you click the relationships icon, you're gonna have a show table dialog box showing you the tables that you have in your database. You just double click on each one. Why you gonna double click? Because you need to use them, so you are able to use them visually, and then you close the dialog box. Now we have 2 tables, and we said that we need to build a relation between these 2 tables to have a solid information when we try to query about who purchased any car at a specific date. You see the customer ID that you have here is called foreign key. This is a foreign key for the primary key here. Okay, it's the same information. Here it's equal to 1. The unique ID for Ahmed is 1, and the customer ID is 1. The only thing that you need to build the relationship is by dragging and dropping. You hold the left click mouse, and you move the mouse, and you drop at the same ID. Okay, and you're gonna have this edit relationship. Without getting into any more complicated, just do create, and now we have a relationship. The only thing that you need to keep in mind that this is a relationship of one to many. What's the meaning of one to many? It means that one customer can have more than one car, not the opposite. So you need to pay attention, where is the one, where is the many. So this is a relation of one to many, and that's it. All you need to know about relationships. Due to the fact that we have a very tight timetable, I'm not gonna go into more complicated topics about the Microsoft Access. The only thing that you need to know more is about how to save your file properly, how to save our work. We go to the File tab. From the File tab, click Save As. From the Save As, you have this icon at the middle with the floppy disk saying Save As. You click it, say that you want to save everything. It's gonna ask you, make sure that you save everything. And now we're gonna save our work. Most of the time I like to save my work at the desktop, so this is just make sure to click or select where do you want to save it. If you want to save it in your floppy, your USB file, USB folder, just make sure to select it. If you want to select anything else, for example, just click the desktop, and on the desktop I'm gonna name my file with my name. It has to have a meaning. I'm gonna name it Abdurrahman so I can find it easily, and I'm gonna name it underscore cars. This is how to make a meaningful name, and then you click save. This is all you need to know about Microsoft Access. Sorry for the delay posting for this video, guys, but this is all I can do for you. I'm not gonna exceed the limit of 15 minutes. Thank you for viewing, and if you have any kind of information or you have any kind of question, just keep asking on the comments or tomorrow, wherever it is. It's a practical and flexible exam, inshallah. It's not that hard. It's just you need to reflect your understanding to the practical knowledge that we handled so far. Take care and see you.